midnight mass and silent night, snow falling, feather light on our old village.
All right, that was Jim Sharkey. A lovely one there. Jim, welcome to WERU. Let's try this again.
Hey, Matt. Thanks a lot. Yeah, I hear you well now.
Okay, all right, good. We pushed all the right buttons and everything's in action. So,
yeah.
So that was Our Old Village. Tell us about that song.
Oh, that's a song. It's a song of immigration of two sisters who go off to England, and they're youngsters. They're in their late teens, or maybe 17, 18, and of course, there's other Irish folks there that they meet up with and many from different villages around where they were born. So, but you'd often you might be born in a village and you'd know people to see from other villages, but you wouldn't never really have a chance to chat with them. But when you'd all be together in a more of a foreign place, you would get together and you'd have all these things in common that would help get you through it, So that's what it's about, and it's about by now an elderly person. She's coming home after a long life away. Yeah, that's pretty much what it's about. It's about all the little villages around and all the people. Kind of represents all the people around our villages where I grew up close to Balladreen, the town of Balladreen.
So you grew up in County Roscommon. In Ireland,
yeah.
Yes, and so you have your own story on where do you live now?
I live in Portland.
Portland,
yeah.
Maine, right. And how did you wind up from County Roscommon to Portland, Maine?
Oh, Lord. It's a long story, really. It was probably 81. I was out of work for 6 months, and there was absolutely nothing going on. Nothing. And I was working in construction, and after about 6 months of trying to find something, I heard of another lad who was just come back from England, and he was in the process of joining the U.S. Navy. And he was born in the U.S. like I was. I was born in Hartford, Connecticut. And I don't remember where this other lad was born. Sean Mannion was his name. Lovely lad from just up in another village close to us. But so the two of us went back together on another trip to London, and in the end, we both joined up, and Sean stayed in for he stayed in for 30 years and is kind of still involved with the Navy, the reserves, I think. And I stayed in for 5 years, and so that's kind of how I got situated in the States. And eventually, then me and my wife moved to North Carolina, then up to Maine, and we lived in Maine from 2001 to 2013. And our children, they went to school here, so they pretty much migrated back. Oh, God, here, I'm making it all confusing now, because we did move away for a while down to North Carolina where my mother-in-law lived, because she was getting on in years. And then we moved back 2 years ago because my daughter had a little baby. So we're settled now.
Yeah, nice. Well, hey, before we go any further, I just want to mention to listeners that Jim will be performing a concert as part of the Bangor Celtic Crossroads series of shows, excellent concerts that take place at the Next Generation Theater on 39 Center Street in Brewer. And Jim, you'll be performing Saturday, February 17th at 7 p.m. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Saturday coming up.
So one of your show, what does Jim Sharkey show entail? What would people be treated to if they decide to come to the show?
Well, there's a lot of songs about family and about friendships, really, and stories behind the songs, and it's songs. They're songs that have been influenced by the Irish tradition, but also by the tradition of the 60s and 70s, which was mostly, I'd say, 50% country music from the States, and maybe 40% pop music and maybe era. That might be a bit much. Maybe my numbers are off a wee bit, but definitely traditional music was not as it wasn't on the radio like you would get the popular music or the country music. It was played in Cayley's local community halls and whatnot like that, but it wasn't really dedicated shows to play traditional music. That started to change in the 60s and the 70s with bands like Planksty and the Botti Band. It changed a little bit, but still, the songs that I write are very much influenced by singer-songwriters of the 70s, a little bit of country music and traditional Irish music as well. So I tell a few stories behind the songs, and yeah.
And how did you get started as a singer-songwriter, and how long have you been doing it?
I've been doing it maybe since 2014. It's funny. I grew up always like singing when we were milking the cows. There was not much else to do, and actually, my uncle, God, he used to be milking the cows, and he'd be singing. It was almost like you'd look forward to milking the cows, so you'd go out there and start singing. So I was the same, and I learned how to play guitar myself, and which explains how my technique, we'll call it that, So I got into. I came over here thinking that I'll spend the couple of years in the Navy like that, and I'll get settled and be good enough to then go out on my own playing music. But then, of course, life hits you, and you get in the Navy, and you're thinking, my goodness, I really have to survive here now, So you give up on those things, and I got married, and we had a couple of children, and you have to put those things aside. Of course, you don't have to, but you feel it depends on the person. You put them aside, and I was the type that I thought, I can't do that now. But then around 2014, our kids were out of school and into college and are done with that phase of their lives, and I thought, well, I'm going to do this now again. So around 2014, I started.
All right. Well, thanks, Jim. We're going to play some more of your music in the last half hour of the show. We're going to get to some more of your music. We have your album here at the station, and
that'd be great.
And we're going to play some more of that. And I just want to one more time before I let you go, let folks know that Jim will be. It's an album release event, right? That you've got going on.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
and Saturday, February 17th. 7 p.m. at the Next Generation Theater, 39 Center Street in Brewer, and that's part of Bangor Celtic Crossroads, and their website is bangorceltic.org. And any final words for us, Jim, before we move on to the next part of our show?
No, I'm just looking forward to seeing everyone in Bangor, Brewer. We used to live up there, and there's a lot of people I haven't seen in a good many years. So it'd be nice to see them.
So there should be a good crowd. All right.
It'd be nice, yeah.
Well, Jim, thanks for taking a few minutes, and we'll see you next weekend.
Thanks, Jim.
All right, bud. Thanks a lot. Thank you. Thanks very much. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
And we're going to hear from Patty Keenan now.
Distance past the harbor, follow the sail.